Hello, my fellow YouTubers and subscribers, and welcome to my latest Doctor Who review, where today I review Vincent and the Doctor, starring Matt Smith as the 11th Doctor. This is the 210th story, and this story was actually written by famous writer Richard Curtis, who I believe wrote and directed the film Love Actually. So Vincent and the Doctor, this is one of the most popular Doctor Who stories, I think, in the Matt Smith era. It is the story where they go into the life and mental health of Vincent van Gogh, the most famous painter in the world, arguably. And I apologise for the absence. I've not done a Doctor Who review for a few days. It's just because I've been working. Like I have a job now where my time is much more needed, so I don't have as much time as I did last year. Well, partly because last year I was in lockdown. But this year I've got a new job and I need to put that first. So my reviews of the Matt Smith era will continue. It's just that I'm going to be devoting a lot more time to my job. So please be patient with me, but I will get through this era eventually. But anyway, as for the story itself, let's get on with the plot. While taking Amy to several peaceful locations, the Doctor's trip to a museum takes a turn for the worst. His interest is caught by a painting of a church by Vincent van Gogh. What troubles the Doctor is that there's a face in the church's window. It's not a nice face. It is a curious, shadowed, creepy face with a beak and nasty eyes. The Doctor knows evil when he sees it, and this face is definitely evil. It may pose a threat to the one who painted it. Only one thing will calm the Doctor's nerve: a trip to the TARDIS to 1890, so he can find out from the artist himself. Okay, Vincent and the Doctor. Well, as I said, this is one of the more popular ones from Series 5, judging by most of what I hear. I don't know, I've always had a bit of an up and down feeling about Vincent and the Doctor. I've always been kind of mixed on it, to be honest. I think the story is good. I like the story. I'd say it's a pretty solid Doctor Who story. I've seen some people say they actually hate the story or dislike it. Two people I know, Jack the Film Fanatic and Sam Harrison, they don't like this story, and I respect their opinions, but I have to respectfully disagree. And then on the flip side, my good friend Harry Thomas loves the story, and that's great. I'm in the middle. I'm kind of... I like the story. I don't think it's amazing. I think that Vincent and the Doctor is a bit of an overrated Doctor Who story, but it's certainly a good one in Series 5. It's better than some of the stories that we get in this series. First of all, I have to talk about the acting. Tony Curran as Vincent is amazing. They cast a very talented actor, and he portrays this guy really, really well. It's very hard to portray Vincent van Gogh, because obviously none of us know what he was really like or what he sounded like. All we know is that he had a very troubled past, and he struggled a lot with his mental health, and in the end he took his own life, which is really, really tragic. So I think Tony Curran does an amazing job, and during some of the more emotional scenes, it actually kind of hits home because Vincent was a real person, and the Doctor and Amy are almost treading on eggshells, not knowing what to say to the guy because they know that in the end he takes his own life, which is a very sad thought, really. Speaking of which, I think the Doctor and Amy are very great performances this time. Matt Smith as the Doctor are really good. A couple of funny moments. I like the part in the church when they're trying to hide from the Crephaeus, and he's like, "Can you breathe a little quieter, please?" And she's like, "No." Amy, yeah, Karen Gillan's very good as Amy. I like her very much, and Vincent is attracted to her, which is interesting, and they keep making references about that, but it's all done in good taste, and you know, it's nice because it gives Amy a chance to kind of form a respect and a bond with him, and it makes the ending, I suppose, a bit more emotional. I really like the setting of the story, the way they've captured the old, you know, 1890s. I think that looks really, really cool, and the period definitely looks great, and some of the extras in that opening scene by the cafe are really good. And when we're introduced to Vincent, he's not in a very good place. He's trying to sell his paintings, but he's also kind of a wreck. His life is falling apart. Yeah, he's drinking and he doesn't really know what to do with himself, and nobody likes him. He's isolated, he's lonely, and yeah, it's really hard to watch in some places. I have to say though, for me, the reason why I don't think the story is perfect, the first thing I have to say is the Crephaeus. I don't think the Crephaeus is a good Doctor Who villain at all. I mean, okay, they try to make it a sympathetic creature, and they want to make Vincent feel bad about killing it, which is a shame, but it doesn't really do anything. It's just this big kind of chicken-looking monster. The design is a bit silly, and it just doesn't come off very well. I mean, the fact that the Doctor and Amy can't see it, you know, that's kind of strange. I mean, unless I missed something, I don't know if it was ever explained why the monster couldn't be seen. I mean, the Doctor has like a mirror device that he uses to see the creature. Amy can't see what it looks like. Vincent can see it. Whether the monster is some kind of projection of his imagination, I don't know. But yeah, I'm not quite sure if that made sense, to be honest. I mean, the Crephaeus, it just kind of, you know, it's there on screen, and then most of the time you don't really see it. You just see characters running away from it. And also the ending. Now, this is where I think my review is going to get a bit controversial, because I know a lot of people love this story, and that's great, and that's fine. I respect everybody's opinions on what they think of this. With me, I am really torn about this ending. Okay, so the ending, basically, after the Crephaeus is defeated, the Doctor and Amy see visions of what Vincent sees in his head, which are the images of Starry Night, which is obviously one of the most famous paintings that he ever produced. And that was amazing. I loved that visual you know, reference there. That the visuals, the CGI is great in this story. And then the Doctor decides to do something which is very strange. He decides to take Vincent back to the museum in the present day and show him what people think of his work. I don't know whether he was doing this to try and prevent Vincent's suicide, or whether he was just trying to make him feel better about himself, or both. And I get what the episode's intentions were. You know, he was trying to help Vincent, you know, be kinder to himself and improve his mental health. And there is a nice, I guess there's a nice commentary on mental health here. But in the end, Vincent kills himself anyway. So I don't know if much was ventured or gained from this. But the Doctor tries to say something to Amy at the end where it's like, well, you know, life is about good and bad things. And, you know, we definitely added to the good aspects of Vincent's life. I mean, I like the fact that the Doctor said that, and it does make sense where he's coming from. You know, Vincent's life wasn't all bad, you know, and it was nice that Vincent saw that people would remember him. But I guess him killing himself, it's a little contradictory, but at the same time, I can kind of see, you know, why he went when he went, because at the time his mental health was just not good. I'm just very baffled by the ending, because I really don't know how to feel about it. I don't know whether I should feel sad or whether I should feel happy. I kind of feel happy in the sense that Vincent got to see his work come to life and people appreciate his work, and especially what Bill Nighy says about his work at the end. But then he kills himself anyway, so yeah, it's sad. It's really sad to see that he didn't choose to carry on with his life, but it's such a big part of history. You know, Vincent van Gogh's death is, well, I would assume it's a fixed point in time. And wasn't it in Father's Day when the Doctor said to Rose, you can't just go changing time with the snap of your fingers whenever you feel like it. You know, certain people and certain moments are fixed in time. You cannot change them. And I believe that the Doctor was contradicting himself when he did this. Again, I don't know whether his intentions were to prevent his suicide or to not, or I don't know. He definitely wanted him to feel better about himself, but I don't think the Doctor ever thought Vincent would not take his own life. I don't know. The ending really confused me. I was kind of like, I was in a state of like, oh, okay, what? I mean, there's no new paintings as such, except there's some, I think sunflowers, and which he signs his name, he says to Amy from Vincent, which is very nice. And then the Crephaeus is taken out of the church window, which is obviously what they wanted to do when the story begins. But again, this ending is really confusing. I mean, I get it. The episode is trying to be a commentary on mental health and explain that Vincent van Gogh had a very tragic life, and mentally he wasn't able to ever recover from that, which is really sad, really, really sad. But you'd think that going to the museum and seeing all that would have given him the, you know, the confidence and the motivation to carry on. When Richard Curtis wrote this ending, I don't know if he was thinking about what he was thinking. You know, I mean, on the one hand, it does kind of work. Like, emotionally, it's a lovely scene, and it is really well acted, and the way that Curran breaks down in tears at the end is beautiful. It is a beautifully shot and written ending. But on the flip side, it's kind of like, well, he's going to kill himself anyway, so does it have as much meaning as I want it to? So forever, I'm just questioning this ending. I don't know why. It is leaving me so baffled, and it's leaving me so confused. I don't know what I'm supposed to think. Am I supposed to be happy that Vincent saw his work? Well, clearly, okay, I'm meant to be happy about that. But he's going to kill himself anyway, so is it worth even showing this? I guess. Was it just to teach Amy that, you know, even though people die, you can still enrich their lives? I guess it's meant to be a combination of all those things. But I just didn't really get the sole intention of what it was from the way it was written. Like, it was well done in terms of the emotionality of the scene. But in terms of the writer's intention, I don't know if Richard Curtis explained it to me. Or like, I didn't understand what he was trying to do. I look at it from multiple perspectives, and I still can't really make sense of it. I mean, I'm probably over-analysing it. But at the same time, I really just don't know what the hell to think of this ending. I'm sad, but I'm also happy, and at the same time, I'm confused. I'm sorry. That being said, Bill Nighy's role as the tour guide, the owner of the museum or whatever, he's really charming. He's only a cameo. He's like a prolonged cameo role. He appears at the very beginning and at the very end, and I love that moment when Vincent goes and hugs him, and he gives him like a kiss on the cheek, and then he looks for him and he's like, no. Like, he almost questions, like, what the hell was that? And it's almost like he has a bit of an out-of-body experience. He doesn't quite believe that that is the real Vincent there standing before him. And then he does that thing of shrugging it off, which is kind of funny. Bill Nighy is just, he's just great. You know, he's got a lot of great comic timing and everything. I also like the moment in the story where there are references to Rory as well, because this is the first story since Rory's official death in Cold Blood. And of course, we know that Rory was erased from existence, but only the Doctor remembers Rory. Amy doesn't remember, but she's still crying. You know, there's a part of her subconscious that probably does still remember him, but she just doesn't know it. They're walking across the pathway, a stone pathway, and he's like, "Oh, you know, I can hear your song. It's very sad, and you're crying." And she's like, "Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's going on." And there's a part when the Doctor says, "Right, Amy, Rory, sorry, Vincent." Even the Doctor's trying to not mention Rory, but you know, it's kind of inevitable not to mention him. And of course, we will see, you know, we will have Rory addressed again in the show later. So Vincent and the Doctor, it's a good episode. It's really well done, but the ending really needed work for me. I didn't get the sole intention of the ending, even though I could feel sad and I could feel happy, and I can understand where the Doctor was coming from in what he was saying to Amy. And I didn't like the Crephaeus. I just didn't think it was good. But aside that, like, the first 2/3 of the episode were really good, and I really liked the commentary on mental health, and I really liked the images of seeing Starry Night in CGI form, the way it sort of morphs into, you know, Vincent's vision of how he sees his paintings. It's just remarkable. And the setting is really nice, the location work is also really good, Murray Gold's music is just fabulous. It's a really good... It's a really solid, strong episode. I don't think it's my favourite of the series, so I'm going to give Vincent and the Doctor an 8 out of 10. I'm prepared for people to disagree with me on that. So anyway, thank you very much for watching my review of Vincent and the Doctor. Sorry if I went on a bit in places, but yeah, please hit the subscribe button for future reviews, and stay tuned next time when I review The Lodger. So until then, I'm Mr. TARDIS11. Thank you for watching. See you soon. Bye for now.